This is going to sound paradoxical, but one of the things that keeps me going, that gives me some hope, is that as the climate crisis worsens, it becomes more and more apparent that we're getting to a place where people will have to respond.
This year I've been really inspired by a lot of great initiatives around transit and density, and specifically approaching those issues through a climate lens.
I work with a lot of immigrants. I'm an immigrant myself, and as a teacher I have lots of immigrants in my classrooms. They do care about climate, but it's not their first priority right now because they have to meet their first needs.
In the area you need a car. In Blue Ridge you need a car. It's a reality. There's this connection where it's like if public transportation was more accessible, the immigrant community could use it more easily to get to work, to get to school, to buy groceries.
And that's what I think that climate action should be, should focus on the people who is most in risk, the people who is most in needs.
Looking at transportation through the lens of food, besides refining, scheduling, and the timing for public transportation, also bringing food to those communities. There's this idea of food apartheid, where you have communities that don't have access to fresh produce.
The most alarming thing in the area is energy equity. And the community I work with, due to status, due to really material needs, they're relegated to housing that always has a greater burden on your utilities, on your services when it's really hot and it's really cold.
One thing what Richard said resonated with me was food is a right. It's been my mission in my career to say that healthcare is a right and something that everyone should be afforded.
We can show up to a 10-year difference in life expectancy based on where you live. A lot of the disparity is in Black and brown communities, and so what motivates me is my grandchildren and my belief that all children deserve to have their best opportunity to be healthy.
A lot of the time we see these really one-dimensional approaches to climate action where we ask, how can I as an individual reduce my carbon emissions? But what these solutions really fail to account for is who is able to implement them, which is generally the wealthy, and the wealthy are not going to be the hardest hit by climate change. That's why it's really great to see intersectional efforts around climate justice, because at its core, climate is an intersectional issue and it needs to be addressed as one.
If you care about racial justice, if you care about equity, all of these issues interconnect with that. And so that's the opportunity we have. The good news about a lot of local climate solutions is that they both reduce emissions and they help our community adapt to the climate that is already changing.
So I feel like we are on the cusp of a great awakening, using all of our resources to fully address climate change and make the change that is necessary for ourselves, for our children and grandchildren and generations to come.
We really have all of the solutions that we need. It is a matter of collective will to put them in place.
The important thing is to do something, not to sit and watch. For years, and at the beginning my language was broken, I couldn't speak it well. So I had a tape on my mouth, I wasn't able to say what I needed to say. But now I can, and I'm using my voice and I'm speaking up.